how do you feel like you've changed?
Well,
皆さんこんにちは、アーサーです。Thank you so much for watching another video. 初めてご覧になる方は YouTube の中でこの動画を選んでいただき誠にありがとうございます。今回の動画ではあなたのリスニングを鍛えるためのネイティブ同士の会話をお届けしたいと思います。で、このチャンネルの目的はですね、あなたが英語を学ぶだけではなく実際に使える英語力を身につけていただくことですので、練習用のネイティブの会話じゃなくて本当に生の会話を聞いていただきます。で、今回の動画はですね、いつも通りに僕とアメリカ人の友達のオースティンとの会話になるんですが、今回の話題はですね、長年日本に住んでいる私たちは実際にどのように成長してきたかっていう話になります。僕は9年以上、オースティンは6年以上日本に住んでいて、やっぱりその影響で自分の価値観が変わりますよね。今回の動画でじっくりお話しします。相変わらずあなたのリスニング、あなたの理解度を確かめるための日本語と英語の字幕が両方ついていますので、ぜひご利用ください。で、ちなみにですね、この動画はもともと The Austin and Arthur Show という別のチャンネルで放送されたものになります。そのチャンネルではいろんな会話はあるんですが、字幕がないのでちょっとハードルが高いと思います。それでもいい場合は、ぜひ The Austin and Arthur Show をご覧ください。And with that, let's get started.Cheers.
All right. Thank you, Shogo.
oh God.
This is great.
Dude, I want another bottle of this. This
I know.
is so good.
Well, this is 3,000 and change. So
yeah.
hopefully, if anyone knows of a better sake than Masumi, please share it with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting because like I drink expensive. Why is that so hard to say? I drink expensive sake from time to time, right? Because I like to buy myself nice stuff every once in a while, and you know I'll go from like 3,000 to 5,000 every once in a while. Like probably once a year I'll get like a Ichiman, and I have to say this is probably my top 3 favorite sake that I've ever had.
Yeah. Well, you know, actually, so I think I'm not sure if it was Masumi, but I've had another brand called Masumi before, and it was really good. Like in the Orihara Shoten in Monaka, you know?
Yeah. So I have to say, like we said thank you last episode, but I really want to emphasize, like this is like one of the best sake I've ever had.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Thank you, Shogo.
Yeah, thank you
Please
very
recommend another one to us. We'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
So today we are going to talk about how living in Japan has changed us as foreigners. And I think so how long have you been living in Japan now?
Let's see, 2017 and it's 2023.
Yeah.
I came here in July, so I guess a little over 6 years.
6 years, right.
Yeah.
I've been here for like 8-9 years now.
Yeah.
So I really feel, you know, how Japan has changed me since, like, when I go back to the United States.
Yeah.
And you were just there just a little while ago. So how do you feel like you've changed?
Well, it's an interesting topic because I was kind of at a transformative period in my life when I came over here as well. Like so I'm 33 now, right? And I came over here when I was 27. And I know it's weird to say this because I was 27, but I was kind of just getting out of my college lifestyle.
Because you were in the military,
right?
You went to college.
Yeah, because I was in the military, so I entered college at 23, right? And I graduated at 27, so I was still like, you know, young bachelor Austin, you know, let's go drinking every night, let's go party, like do that kind of thing. And so I think coming over here, I was kind of in a transformative state where I was like transforming from young adult to adult.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, I'm old enough to go do stuff, but I don't have responsibilities. And when I came here, it's like suddenly I have no support at all here, right? You know, of course my family could help me if something really bad happens. Like I'm thankfully or luckily from a well-off family who loves and supports me if I need it. But, you know, if something emergency happens, like no one's here for me.
Right.
Right. and I'm living on my own, and it's my job to feed myself, take care of myself, and make myself presentable for work and stuff, right? So I think like the first thing that changed with me was I had to start acting like an adult. You know, I'm not back in college where you know my mom did my laundry. You know, I'm not. You know, I have to wash dishes. I have to make sure my living quarters presentable. Like, so there's a lot of like basic stuff that adults have to do that I had to suddenly just do.
Because you're here by yourself.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, but I actually feel like that's worked out really well because I think a lot of other people here in Japan also do or like go through and experience the exact same thing I went through at around the same age. Because here in Japan, like one big difference between being an adult here is like you don't really move out of the house until you get married.
Yeah, right.
It's like really common for that to happen, right? So it's like people usually don't move out from their parents' house here in Japan until like somewhere between like 27 and 30. Where in the US, it's like as soon as you hit 18, you're like, I want to be free. You know, I want to go live on my own.
Or your parents push you out.
Your parents push you out, right? One or the other happens. And so, you know, people in the US still like, I think it's becoming more common and acceptable to like live at your parents until a later age because it's harder to live on your own now. But so I think one of the things that I directly noticed when I first moved here is I became a lot more responsible. Like I no longer like I can probably count on my hand the amount of times that I've been late on bills, for example. Right. It's like you eventually like something happens, you like you forget a bill or whatever, but like I've always paid my bills on time when I remember them. You know, just stuff like that. So it's like I don't know. I feel like I've become a lot more responsible in my personal life. What about you?
I think so for me there were a couple of things that I noticed when I went back to the States that made me really feel like, oh, I'm a different person now. One of them was when I was at the supermarket in the States and I saw a can of tomatoes that had fallen on the floor.
Oh man,
I picked it back up and put it where it was supposed to be. And I was like, wow, I would have never done that before because where I'm from, right, people will take things off the shelf and then when they don't need them, they'll put them back in the wrong spot. But it doesn't matter because, hey, I just don't want it, you know? Like, so I used to work at a discount clothing store. And my whole job was basically putting things back in the right spot because people kept on putting them back in the wrong spots.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought this topic up.
Okay.
So I actually have a funny story about this. Well, I don't know if it's funny, but I think it's funny. I got really upset when I went back to Seattle this summer.
Time. Okay.
And so I completely agree. The exact same thing happened to me when I lived here in Japan for a while as I started really caring about like order in my environment. And we went to this Korean supermarket in Linwood. Which is like kind of like outskirts of Seattle. And so we were so the reason why is we're making yakiniku for my parents.
Or they would say, oh, okay, so you were there with your wife and stuff. Okay.
And so you know, we needed to get like yakiniku sauce or Korean barbecue is how it's known in the US. And so we went to go get the sauce and we were going to go shopping there because like, you know, the Korean supermarket has like Asian vegetables that you would see. And so we go shopping there and coming back to like put all the groceries in the car. There's shopping carts everywhere. So to go back with what I was saying, we finished shopping, getting everything to make yakiniku for my parents. And we're going out, and I'm putting the shopping cart back because I'm not a degenerate. I take the shopping cart back to where it's supposed to be. And to be fair, this bothered me before I left to Japan, but I never did anything about it. I always just like looked at people in disdain.
Yeah.
I looked at them like, oh, okay, you're just a pathetic person that, can't do that.
Because in America, right, so in the parking lots, they will have specified areas where you put the carts back.
Yes.
And people can't even be bothered to do that.
Oh, my God.
And then the carts just move around. The carts sometimes hit cars.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge problem. Like, you'll get dents in your car because some idiot decided to just leave their shopping cart.
Yeah.
Because they can't be bothered to put it back.
Yeah.
But like, it's not something that I would go out of my way to fix. I would just look at that and be like, okay, this person's dumb. Like, I can't stand people like this.
Yeah.
And then I would just go do it.
Yeah.
But we were coming out, and so I put the shopping cart back, and my parents were already in the car. The car was running. You know, my wife had put my daughter back in. Everyone was like seatbelts on, ready to go. And I looked around and saw like 3 shopping carts just in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah.
One was blocking a whole parking space.
Yeah.
And I just got angry.
Yeah.
I was like, this is disgusting. Like, I am insulted as an American that this is an example of America.
Yeah.
And I got so angry. So I put all the carts back. And like I came in and I was like really pissed off in the car. I'm like, this is garbage. I hate this. Like, I'm so disappointed that America looks like this, especially because it's my wife's first time visiting America.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone's looking at me like, dude, calm down.
Yeah, chill out.
Like, they're just shopping carts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, why is everyone okay with this?
Yeah.
Like order.
Yeah. Having things be organized, things be in order. No, I get that. Yeah, I mean, so like one thing too, so with me, I really focus more on the order and trying to put things back in their place and stuff. Yeah. One thing that's also gotten me that's been really surprising. We talked a little bit about this in our episode where we talked about how America's more fake, right? Yeah. So I remember back when I was in college, I was a lot more conscientious about what I bought. Like, I really wanted to get organic food, or I really wanted to buy biodegradable things. So I got biodegradable soap, whatever, like all these things. Yeah. And I was always taken in by the marketing, like, there's this story behind this product. Like, let me be a part of this story kind of thing. Yeah. And now it's like, I remember when I came to Japan and I saw advertisements for Febreze. Because, Febreze in the States, right? So apparently, this is kind of amazing. So
I'm excited to hear this.
So originally, when Procter & Gamble was trying to develop Febreze, they found their ideal customer who was like, I can't believe you made this. I love this product. I buy this all the time. This product has saved me because I'm a dog walker. I take care of dogs, and I smell like dog poop all the time because I'm always taking care of dogs and stuff. And using Febreze takes that odor away so I can have a regular life. You guys have saved me, And people are like, oh, great. This takes away the odor. We're going to do this, right? We're going to do this. Yeah. Whereas, so then they started to try to sell Febreze on that angle. It takes away your bad smell. No one would buy it in the States because they found out that when people would buy Febreze, they would be admitting to themselves that they smell bad. Yeah. And the cash register person would know that they smell bad. So that's why you're buying Febreze. So in the States, the way that they started to sell Febreze was, hey, you washed your clothes. Why don't you just spray this on and get this nice scent so it feels clean to you as well? It was almost like a finisher kind of thing. Yeah. But whereas in the States, whereas in Japan, it's like, hey, your button-down shirt smells like sweat and crap. Why don't you just spray Febreze on it? You'll smell a lot better. Yeah. And like that's totally fine in Japan, right? So like for me, I don't really care about organic and like these kinds of like big stories. Like something needs to be more meaningful to me. Whereas like now I focus more on if something really is good or not. Yeah. So here in Musashi Kosugi, I met someone who's actually developing he started an organic produce business, trying to get organic to catch on in Japan because there's still a very low chimedo or nishiki. Like there's a very low awareness of organic. Like the organic aisle in Japanese supermarkets like very small, whereas in the States it's huge, right? Yeah. And I remember I told my dad that. He's like, why? Japanese produce is already really great.
Yeah.
Like, do you really need to slap the label organic on it? Because it's way better.
Yeah.
You know? And so for me, I'm going for the quality and not necessarily from the marketing anymore.
And I think you can do that here. Like, factory farms just aren't really a thing here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're getting meat, you have like two options for meat here. You can get meat from Australia, and Australia is, I would say it's pretty similar to America as far as the meat department goes. Yeah. So it's like they've got factory farms there. You kind of like, it's usually on the cheaper end as far as meat goes here. And so like, if you're buying Australian meat, like you kind of know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But when you buy Japanese meat here, it's like you don't need to slap on an organic label, because it's like, you know that the meat here is just on some random farm here in Japan.
And
so
it's going to be good.
Yeah. So it's like grass-fed cattle. It's like, yeah, of course. What else are they going to eat? You know what I mean? There's not like some giant building where it's like hundreds of cows are inside of it.
Yeah.
And they're just slaughtering cows. It's like, no, it's just some place in like, you know, I don't know what prefecture. I think down in Kyushu is like really famous for growing cows. And I know Okinawa also. Yeah. But regardless, like wherever they're growing cows in Japan, they're just cows.
Yeah.
Like there's no giant building that they're in.
Yeah. And there's like this huge, like in America, there's this huge movement of eat local.
Yeah.
You want to eat from farms in the United States. You don't want to get all this produce from other countries, right? But like in Japan, it's like clearly stated in big letters like where it comes from, and you pretty much choose Japan-made stuff.
So here's one thing. I think pretty consistently on this channel, we have talked about how much better America can be because of its size.
Yeah.
And I actually think this specific topic is one of the times that I think Japan is better because of its size.
Yeah.
You know, because Japan is basically the size of California, it's very easy to get locally sourced food, right? Yeah. You can go to any prefecture in this country and get food from like at most one prefecture away.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all of the food living in Kanagawa. So we both,
both live in Kanagawa.
That's cool. We both live in Kanagawa.
Yeah, Kanagawa can mean.
Yeah. So if you live in Kanagawa, for example, all of your vegetables are going to be from Yamanashi.
Yeah.
All of them. Like it doesn't matter what vegetables you're getting. Pretty much all of your fruit also, like all of your grown stuff is going to be from Yamanashi, which is like just another prefecture over. Yeah. So all of your food's coming from like 3 to 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal. Like everywhere else in Japan's the same way. Yeah. So that's really cool. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it really like made me stop focusing on, like I said, you know, the story and the marketing, and just really just focusing on the thing as it is, you know?
Yeah.
So that was another really big thing for me. I think another thing is that I started taking like high quality for granted.
Yeah.
You know, because like every time I go back to the States now, I get more and more disappointed in the things I buy, the food I eat, the service I get.
I mean, you really notice it, man. I think the biggest thing is the produce department.
Yeah.
Because I think a big difference between Japan and the US is the US has to use a lot of pesticides because the distance the food has to travel to get, especially if you live on a coastal state.
Yeah.
Right? Washington, for example, we don't grow vegetables in Washington.
Other than apples.
Well, it's not a vegetable.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a fruit.
But yeah, it's like we don't grow corn, cabbage, lettuce. Like none of that stuff comes from Washington.
Yeah.
Right? And so the states that are growing this are often like a day or two of travel time in order to get to the grocery store. And
basically, if you were to take the interstate highway going from the East Coast to the West Coast, it would take you 2.5 to 3 days nonstop, no rest.
Yeah, that's like, I really want to emphasize no rest. That's like not even stopping for a bathroom break.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Usually, I think like at a normal pace, it takes like about a week.
Yeah.
Like if you're stopping and staying overnight and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so like that scale versus like here in Japan, you can get from like the top of Honshu to the bottom of Honshu in like, I don't know, realistically, probably like 15, 16 hours, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, so I know like from Tokyo to Osaka is about 8 hours.
Yeah. It's like almost the same distance as San Francisco to LA.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, things are a lot closer together. So it's a lot more convenient.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not necessarily saying like the policy rules in Japan are better. It's not like saying like, oh, Japan's better because they, America just uses all these chemicals for no reason. It's like, no, America uses the chemicals and pesticides, but there's a reason for it, right? You have to preserve this food so it lasts the travel distance, right? And Japan doesn't have to do that. Yeah. And so you kind of get organic food like already natively just because everything's grown so close to where it's being consumed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what's another thing for you you feel like you've changed, or how Japan has changed you, I would say?
I would say one thing that Japan has changed me is I appreciate my daily life. And
I was actually just about to talk about that.
Yeah. When I was in the US, I think this was kind of an age thing too. I don't think this is really unique to living in Japan, but I think Japan really highlights how much you enjoy your daily life. I like riding the train when I'm coming home. Like I have a routine where I come home. I don't do this every day, but I do this often. Is there's something called the green car.
Oh yeah.
So my commute's about an hour.
You take the Yokosuka line?
I take the Tokaido line. Right? And so I work in downtown Tokyo and I live in Shonan. So it's about an hour commute. And I ride the green car pretty much every day.
Yeah. Both ways?
Both ways. Yeah. And the green car is just kind of like a little bit of a luxury car. So it usually costs like $7 to get on, or like usually 700 yen.
Yeah. So for the non-Japanese people watching this, one thing that I've noticed that was kind of confusing for me at first is that people use non-generic names for certain services.
Okay.
So it's not like what the green car is it's basically reserve seating.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But they don't call it the reserve seats.
Yeah.
They call it the green car.
Yeah.
It's like, so what's special about the green car? Well, it's the green car. It's luxury. Well, what is it? Oh, it's you reserve your seat. Oh, so it's just a reserve seat car. Yeah. And it's like, I remember taking the Shinkansen, right? And I was talking to, I did a project with JR Tokai Tours, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was trying to teach them how to explain the Shinkansen to tourists. And you have the Nozomi, the Kodama, and the whatever, right?
Yeah.
I was like, so what's the difference?
Hikaru.
Hikari?
Hikari.
Yeah. So you have Nozomi, Hikari, and Kodama. And I'm like, so like what's the difference? They're like, oh, they're just different speeds.
Yeah.
It's like, so why don't they just call it like the Super Express, the Express, and then the regular, but they call it the Nozomi, Hikari, and the Kodama. So green car is a great example of that.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
By the way, if any JR representatives are watching this in the off chance, I would like to talk to you guys about the announcements, because oh my god, the English announcements are terrible on the train. especially the subway. And I know the JR doesn't deal with the subway, but both JR and the subway, they suck here. I would love to do the English announcements, because as a native English speaker, I would say it in a way that people would understand if they're coming to Japan.
In all fairness, I have a hard time understanding the English of the announcements.
It's so bad. Oh my god. And it's like, I know this is completely off topic. I just want to do a small rant on this, but it's just like, I know that you're trying to pronounce things, and you're hiring native English speakers to pronounce things, and I feel like the native speakers that are being hired are people who are like Japanophiles.
Yeah.
In the sense that like they want to pronounce Japanese words the way that they're intended to sound.
Yeah.
And that's nice for political correctness.
Yeah.
But if somebody's coming from like the UK or like, the southern United States, they're not going to understand like, I actually think Kyoto.
Kyoto.
You said earlier Kyoto.
Kyoto, yeah.
Right? And if you're coming from America, you're going to pronounce it Kyoto.
Yeah. Not even Kyoto, Kyoto.
Kyoto, right?
Kyoto, yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, I just wish they would pronounce it the way that, like, a tourist would understand. Because those announcements are not for people like us.
Yeah.
Right? We've lived here. We understand Japanese. We understand what the announcements are saying in Japanese.
Kyoto.
I don't need to hear the English part. Yeah. That's for somebody, it's like their first time to Japan. Yeah. They don't know where they're going, and they're trying to listen to the announcements to know where they're going.
Yeah.
Right?
I would love to train the train system people to speak English better, because that would help things a lot more.
But anyways,
back to the topic at hand.
Back to how we changed.
Yeah, we were talking about what?
Oh man, I was hoping you would know.
Okay. You were just going on this rant, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little drunk, so I got passionate.
No, it's great. People like it more that way.
Oh, daily life. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about my daily life. So I ride the green car, right? And my routine, and like I said, I don't do this every day because it's not very healthy, but I will get a can of Jack Daniels and Coke, which is so cool. I love those cans.
Is it mixed in the can?
It's mixed in the can. Man, you haven't tried these?
No, where do you get those?
7-Eleven. You can get them at any convenience. They're selling them. Yeah, they're so good. But you will get drunk after 2 cans. So you got to be careful.
Well, I would only have like 1 can.
One can will get you drunk.
Okay.
But they're really good. They're like 200 yen too. They're so cheap. But I get a can of Jack and Coke, and then this is my secret guilty thing is I like the black chocolate Snickers.
The black.
Have you ever had that? The Snickers black?
I haven't.
It's so good, man. I love black, or like I guess dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
I love dark chocolate, but it's a Snickers, but the chocolate's dark chocolate instead of milk. Yeah. And so I'll get those 2 combinations.
Okay.
Right? And that's like my little treat for working hard for the day.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'll ride home in the green car, snacking on that, and I'll get home and then, meet my wife and, take care and like do family stuff in the evening. But it's like, if you talk to 25-year-old Austin when I was back and living in the U.S., that's not something I would enjoy.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like, I don't care about my daily life. I don't care about routines. But here, since living here, it's like I really appreciate just like the small little the small little treats that I have during the day.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I feel like, here, people really do, at least the environment helps you to focus more on the everyday thing. Because I remember when I first came here and I saw that the manhole covers were these cute designs, or they had these little cute characters everywhere.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, are these for kids? Like, what's the deal? Why would you spend the extra money to do that? And then it just really showed me that like the purpose is not I mean, of course you should think about the future, but you should really enjoy the present too. Whereas I feel like in the States, it's like people focus on the future. Let's get this done. Okay, we got this done. Let's go to the next thing now. Let's not enjoy what we have. Let's go to the next thing. Whereas in Japan, it's like, hey, enjoy what you have here. Let's just have a little fun.
Another example that I have is I can't do this during the summer, but during the winter months. So something I'm actually looking forward to once we get into a little bit colder and once the weather starts going away, is every morning on my way to work. So my apartment has an incredible view of Mount Fuji.
Okay.
Right. And every morning on my way to work, I live on the 5th floor and we have no elevator. So I'll be walking down. And when I get to the 4th floor, there's like a small little balcony area where I can walk out and look at Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
And every morning I do that on my way to work. I stop and I take a deep breath and I look at Mount Fuji. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the day.
Like, it's so funny you say that because so like one thing that hit me when my sister came and visited us last year.
Yeah.
We went to Kyoto together and we took Shinkansen. And I remember there were about 6 times when I told my sister to look out of the window to enjoy this nice view. Like you can only see it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite views is actually in Shizuoka. It's when you go past Hamamatsu.
Okay.
There's this lake that you pass through, and it's kind of like a Riviera kind of thing.
The really famous lake where you can get like the diamond image of Mount Fuji.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Yeah. And so like I would tell my sister, hey, check this out. Look at this.
Yeah.
And my sister was getting kind of tired, kind of frustrated, like, oh, here, it's just another good view. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's the point, Yeah. And probably, this comes from someone who, back when I would hike with other friends, I would always be at the front of the line. And my goal was just to get to the very top. And I didn't enjoy anything around me. Yeah. I just was like, I'm going. I never took time to enjoy the view.
Yeah.
But now I do that all the time, and I feel like that's because the whole culture here is focused on, hey, enjoy this moment.
Well, so it's really funny that you mentioned that because we were just talking in our previous episode about nature, for example, right? And I mentioned that in Japan, it's like looking at the details of a painting.
Yeah.
And in America, it's looking at an art gallery when you're looking at nature, right? And so like, I think that a lot of people could interpret that as like, okay, well, if you're going to an art gallery, you're seeing a lot of paintings and you're seeing a lot of detail, and that's true. You'll see way more variety of nature in America.
Yeah.
And if I'm being a little honest, I think like you'll be more impressed with nature in America than in Japan.
Yeah.
Like just the scale and like the things that you'll see are way more impressive than Japan. But when you're looking at things here, it's like you see these little details and they're not meant to change your life.
Yeah.
They're not meant to change your life. It's like something as small as like I was doing just in the morning looking at Mount Fuji and going, okay, I'm ready for the day.
Yeah.
Like it's those small little empowerments.
Yeah. And it's not like it's separate from your life. It's a part of your everyday life.
Yes. Yeah. And so like that's something I like you, I really appreciate here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we have a little bit more to talk about, but we are
ran out of sake. Probably because I spilled some of it.
You spilled some. Shogo, this was great. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And like I said before, 他になんかおすすめの日本酒がありましたら、ぜひ有料チャット、スーパーチャットで教えていただければ、we'll buy it.
Yeah,
and,
please.
Yeah, Shogo, if you have any other ideas, please share this. This was really, really nice. Thanks, man. All right, well, I guess we'll end it here. I need to finish you already finished yours, man.
Dude, this is so good. I can't stop drinking it, man.
All right, man. I'll see you next time.
Yep.
Alright, 最後までご覧いただき誠にありがとうございます。忘れないでください。英語は勉強するための科目ではなく、あなたが世界とつながるためのツールになります。ぜひ今回の動画で気づいた英語、フレーズなどを今度外国人の実際に使ってみてください。I'm here to help you and I can't wait to see how this video improves your English and your life. 今回の動画が気に入ってくださった場合は I really think you'll like this video too. ぜひご確認ください。As always, enjoy your English adventures. これからも一緒に世界とつながりましょう。See you next time!